Alright. Hi. Good evening or afternoon. It doesn't feel like evening here either because it's just very bright. It's also very warm. So that might be a little slightly disorienting. Lisa, we're going to do a cooling practice today. We're going to do some breath work and some things that I like to do when things are starting to get kind of hot because it's really easy for the energy of heat and intensity to kind of run away with us. It's like, heating up an oven. Like you start a little bit warm and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and you just keep adding the heat and then it gets out of control. That's also how my anxiety works. So what we're gonna work with today is a lot of energy and the whole idea of like, there's some times where it's really useful to have high energy, to have heat. Physically in the body, we have postures like big heart openers or twists that will generally be very heat inducing and intensity inducing. Like even if you start to like take your body and like kind of open up here, this can get your heart rate up just even on its own, or your awareness up, So it's like, how do we find a space in which we can be open and assertive and moving forward and acting in our lives, but not letting the heat and the intensity build up to a point in which it's detrimental to us. It's all about balance. So a lot of our practice will be focused in that today, and puppy snuggles. So we're going to do some breath work as we kind of get started out here. So face brush breath work. If you are not sitting in a way that you can totally sit easily for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 5 minutes, I don't time this. If you want to lay down or you want to kind of shift where you're sitting at any point, then go ahead and do that for yourself. Yeah? Okay. So index finger and thumb together, start at the center of your forehead and brush outwards towards your temples. And going from your sides of your nose out to your temples. Your temples down to your chin, along your jawline. And the sides of your nose down to your chin, along your laugh lines. And massaging underneath and behind your ears, finding the soft spots and lifting upwards from the bony spots. Keeping that lift as you rest your hands down into your lap. And as you breathe long and deep, which maybe not necessarily deep, but just really long, so you have a little bit more of a calming energy to your breath. Once you establish, long breath, I think this is a good rhythm and place for my practice. Count that length. Maybe just use some generic unit of time that you're making up. And then add a count to your breath. So if you were breathing in for 5, maybe you try to breathe in for 6. Still attempting to match and even out the inhales and exhales. You're going to take your lips and you're going to make a tiny little O, so as if you were wrapping your lips around a straw. And then stick your tongue down towards the bottom of that little O, or touching the bottom of your imaginary straw. And as you breathe in and out through that little O, you'll feel the air cooling. Possibly even feeling that cooling starting to infiltrate into the rest of you, into your nose, your mouth, your throat. This is a good breath to find focus in, to calm us, and literally to cool the body. Go ahead and relax your lips and come back to that long, slow, deep breath. You're going to take your mouth, you're going to open your lips but close your teeth like you're having an awkward smile in a school photo in elementary school, like, and then breathe in and out through like basically your closed teeth. And it's real weird. You'll feel really silly doing it. It's just you, it's fine. And you'll also notice a cooling sensation. It's kind of like how sweat works. If you have something that's a bit wet, having the air across it, it's cooling. But this is allowing you to take in and out a lot more air. So it allows a lot more energy, and we're using your body, more exertion. And you have the air to let it happen. You might have remembered that small O frosted Cheerio breath, like you wouldn't necessarily be able to run a marathon like that, right? Until you want to run a marathon like this. If you haven't already, go ahead and relax your lips again. Back to those long, slow, easy breaths. And if you ever find yourself in a place where you are just very hot, if it's a hot day, if you're slightly overwhelmed, then one of those two breaths might serve you. If you're walking around trying the open mouth, if you're just sitting and trying to cool down, that small little O. The next time you take a breath in, get in a little bit deeper, and let the exhale out through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. To open your eyes, and if you have your legs wound up, or if you've been laying down and you want to come on up to a seat, actually I'm going to ma'am, thank you. So have your feet towards each other, your knees out wide. Just do a little bit of stirring around in your seat. So move your torso around, starting to work out some of the cobwebs in our hips, and then do that stirring in the other direction. A little bit of motion to work out those hips while you're seated. Come on down onto your back, and then you're going to bring your hands to your knees, and moving your knees as one unit, roll them around in a circle. So you're again stirring around in the pelvis. Move the circle in the other direction. And then moving your knees in They're individual units making circles. And move those circles in the other direction. Go ahead and set your feet down. And then put your right ankle on your left knee. Take your right arm in between the legs. Hold your left leg somewhere that feels good to you. Try to flex your right foot. So you have a little action going on here. It's enough action to keep your knee in some good alignment. And then notice if the rest of your body, if your breath, if your energy is responding with stiffness or intensity to this, and try to soften your breath. Maybe this helps to soften your body. One more exhale. And then release your left leg, unwind the right leg, wrap up the other side. Left arm goes through, hold that right leg, flex your left foot, relax your hips. Try to keep your breath soft and easy. Perhaps it helps your hips become a little bit more soft and easy. One more breath out. Then release your right leg and your left leg. Stretch your arms up above your head. Slide your legs out long. Reach out long from your fingertips to your toes so you find all of this space. Notice how that impacts the breath, the energy that you've got, and then exhale, let everything deflate. Try that one more time. Try to reach out long, fingers and toes, stretching out in all directions, and then soften everything. And you'll leave your left hand where it is, just bring your right hand over to it. Maybe you move your head a little bit too. And then you keep your left leg where it is, just put your right leg over on it. And ideally we've got the shoulder and the hip relaxing towards the floor. They don't have to be on the floor. If they can, great. We're just relaxing the right side down. Try to soften the space on the inside of your right shoulder as you take 2 more breaths. Separate your right arm and your right leg out to that X shape again. And then you'll move your left hand over towards your right hand, your left leg over towards your right leg, finding the same shape on the other side. No. Trying to let your left shoulder and your left hip be heavy. Maybe they're even down on the floor. Take 2 more breaths, stretching out long through your left side. And open those limbs back out. Take another big breath in. Let your body soften with your exhale. And then slide your feet in so that they're a little bit wider than your hips. So you've got them planted on the floor, a little bit wider than your hips. Each of your knees will be their own unit. Lift your toes up towards your shins, and both of your knees go over to the right. And it's that shape where you've got your legs open and you feel that stretch across the front of your left thigh. You might use your right hand to hold the left hand and kind of pull it out a little bit longer. Keep letting your belly soften backwards instead of like lifting upwards. You don't want to go too much into a back bend. Just one more exhale. And then bringing your knees back up. And we'll switch, maybe grab down to your right wrist, lift your toes to your shins, drop both of your knees, each on their own unit, over towards the left. And you're going to stretch now across the front of your right thigh and softening your belly down towards your spine. One more exhale. And come back up. Go ahead and bring, actually you're going to roll all the way over onto your one side. Where am I going with this? It's just to this couple hours ago. Okay, hi. Thank you. I'm going to need you to scooch literally anywhere else. Okay, thank you. That's good. Right there. Okay. And then take your top leg, really, take your top leg, reach back and try to catch your foot. Yep, okay, cool. So I'm just gonna talk to you from behind my dog. Jezebel, no. So relax your head down on your bottom arm and try to reach your top knee down towards your bottom foot. And that should also help so that you're opening up through this top hip and not just like having it folded, yeah? One more breath out. Then gently release that leg. Just roll over to the other side. So you'll lay on the bottom arm, take your top leg, reach back behind you, catch your foot, and then send your knee down towards your bottom foot. So you should feel a little bit more space opening up in the front of your thigh and the front of your hip. One more exhale. Then gently release that leg. Roll yourself over onto your belly and you're going to come up onto your elbows so you've got a little Sphinx pose. Just a very gentle back bend without creating a lot of heat. So go ahead and stack on your elbows. Roll your shoulders back. Take some nice, easy, long breaths. A lot of what gets really stimulating about heart openers is that thing I always talk about, like trying to get your heart in front of your arms, like really opening up and forward. And Sphinx pose doesn't really do that. It's a little bit more gentle. One more exhale. And then widen your elbows, stack your palms on each other. If you need to rest your cheek, you can rest your cheek, but try to rest your forehead on your hands. Your hands should keep your nose from hitting the ground. And then you've got this grounding, it's like getting into a little relationship with the floor. So the earth is cooler than the air. The lower you are, the cooler it is. The more we're making contact with this solid foundation, can be more cooling and relaxing to the body. You can even imagine exposing the back side of your body to the breeze and letting it cool you. One more breath out. And bringing your hands in, start to press yourself up off of your belly and then bring your knees a little wider, your toes towards each other, and sit back towards child's pose. If this needs to be more like a puppy dog pose, just let it be a puppy dog pose. But try to let your forehead come down towards the mat. And if you need to stick a block or a book underneath your forehead to do that, just go ahead and stick something underneath there. You want to be able to relax your head. One more breath out. And start to lift yourself up to your hands and knees. And you're going to go right away to taking your right foot forward and your hands up onto your right thigh. Once you get here, try to make sure that you're really opening up again through the front of the thigh. You're lifting up through your chest. We're going to create a little heart opener here by lifting the arms up. By lifting your heart up into the front of your rib cage, notice the change in your energy and the change in your breath. You can stay lifted, you can stay energized, but can you stay cool about it? One more breath in. And then go ahead and bring your hands down. You're going to wiggle your right foot out a little bit longer in front of you and then make the leg kind of sort of like straight, or maybe it is totally straight, and then go ahead and relax your foot and let your whole body like relax forward. So you're just going to soft. You don't have to crunch in your face to your leg. And just let things be soft. Let your breath be long. One more exhale. And then go ahead and pull your right leg back. You'll set your right knee down and then bring your left foot forward. Take your hands up onto your thigh and start to set up where you know that you've got your hips just a little in front of your back knee. And then once you've got your chest lifted here, start to take your arms up. A little bit more energy, a little bit more intensity to this heart opening. You can even open your arms a little bit more if that helps you to lift your heart up and find a little bit more space. Try to keep your breath and your energy stable. One more breath in. And go ahead and bring your hands down. You're going to wiggle that foot out a little bit longer in front of you. Start to lengthen that leg or straighten the leg and let your body relax down and forward. Big stretch through the hamstring, gentle energy. One more exhale. And then you're going to slide that left leg back. Spread your fingers out, curl your toes, press back to a downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal through your heels a little bit so you're really working out through your calf muscles. And then bring your feet and your hands towards each other. Find a forward fold. Bend your knees a whole bunch so that you're really relaxed in your hips and your hamstrings and your back. Let your head relax. Start to bring yourself up to standing. Go nice and slow with it. And then when you get yourself up to standing, take your legs out really wide. Turn your toes in just a tiny bit, so it's not directly forward, they're in just a little bit. Hopefully this will help to stretch out the outsides of your shins, especially if you are wearing sandals and stuff. Like that stuff gets really tight out there. So we'll go into a forward fold. Try to keep reaching the pinky toe edge of your foot down towards the floor. One more exhale. A little bend in the knees. Start to stand yourself up. Go nice and slow with it. I just say that especially we always think that we're really hydrated until you try to stand up really fast. So switch your feet over towards the right side. We'll take a warrior two, bending into your right leg. Make sure that you've got that tracking of the knee and it's not falling in. Take your arms open. And then turn your hands over. It's like, yeah, I'm open, expanded. A little bit less like shoulders lifting you up. And then start reaching forward. Now as you reach forward, keep your hip underneath you. This gets hard. Yeah, so as it gets hard, your breath might become a little more jagged. You might notice the body getting heated, especially this leg that's working so damn hard. Reach out a little bit more. Go ahead and bring your elbow down and then take this top arm up and over. Now try to use your feet a little bit more than your hips and your quad muscle to support you.
Just spreading the energy out a little bit, making it less intense in specific places. One more breath out. And then lift yourself up. Go ahead and switch your legs so that you've got the left ones all the way over your right toes. Turn it a little bit. As you bend into your leg, take your arms open. Flip your palms over. Flip them back to palms down. And feel what I mean, like those shoulder muscles really working. And then turn it underneath. Just shifting a little bit, making it less intense in the arms. And then reach forward slowly without moving that front leg. Try to keep your breath calm and collected as you can, even though it's a little crazy right now. And then put your elbow down and take your top arm up and over. Make sure your hips didn't glide back, that you kept them underneath you. Stand strong in both feet. Stretch the skin out on the right side of your body. Aerate your right armpit. And your left armpit. Don't fall into that one. Open it up. One more exhale. And then start to lift yourself up. Go ahead and bring your legs in underneath you. We'll just take a little tree pose as our balance. So taking your right foot up onto the inside of your left leg. Open your hips. We'll stay lifted here. So we're using enough energy to support ourselves. So we're having a little core work going. And then go ahead and lift up your branches. If you're feeling fancy and want to dance them with making a little breeze. Hopefully still breathing since you got that breeze going on. Oh dear. Then set your foot down. I was going to go for about that time anyway, I would assume. And then we'll switch to the other side. So you've got your leg up. Lift all the way up. You might do some swaying. That might make you fall over. Ooh, yep, okay, yep. Long breath. Lifting the fronts of your hips up. One more inhale. Release your arms. Release your foot. A few more standing poses. Take your right foot forward and your left foot back. Find warrior one legs. And then straighten your front leg. It doesn't have to be totally straight. If you have some blocks and you want to grab some blocks for underneath your hands, or any sort of adjustment there, go ahead and do it. We're going to come forward, and you can let your leg be soft, and you can let your body be soft coming forward into this fold. It doesn't need to get very far. And try to relax your torso, your breath, your eyebrows. One more breath out. And start to lift yourself back up. Take your time coming up to standing. When you get yourself up to standing, take your hands to your hips. Make your legs a little bit stronger. Lift your heart up and forward in front of your arms. And then keep the heart lifted as the most relevant part of this shape. And you'll notice, like, oh, the breath gets a little crazy, the hammy gets a little crazy. Can I try to stay balanced and calm even in this heated, intense place? Sometimes the answer is no, it sucks, I don't know what I'm doing, but just do our best. One more exhale. And then go ahead and lift up, relax your arms. We'll just switch to the other side. So finding that kind of warrior one space, I have a little bit of right to left. It's not the longest stance. I'll leave the front leg straight and then come forward over a fairly relaxed leg, fairly relaxed spine. One more exhale. And gently bring yourself back up to standing. Bring your hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest up and forward. Find long breaths here. Try to keep the long breaths as you move this shape forward. Try to keep your chest open. One more breath out. And lifting yourself up. Relax your arms. Go ahead and bring your feet in towards each other. We're actually going to take them out so a little bit wider than the hips. We're going to come down into a squat. You can always just do it with your bum all the way down on the ground. You don't have to go as low, or you can put something underneath your hips. So we're going to come down into a squat, and you might have to do it. The little thing where I move my feet around and kind of shift around a little hobbit golem like to get yourself down there. And then push into your feet, the pinky toe edges of your feet. Letting your hips open up. Trying to relax your breath as well. One more exhale. Go ahead and bring your hips down. Bring your feet towards each other. And take the feet out a little bit. Hold the backs of your legs, lift up at the backs of your ears, and then start to lean back. If you wanted to lift your feet up off of the ground here, you could too. Try to lift your chest up. We'll just do one boat pose, quick and easy. Breathing in. And then relax that. Okay, so keeping that idea, I won't do more, but wanting to lift your chest up when we go into those spaces, finding that boat. Okay, we'll do some other stuff for a moment. So take your feet towards each other, your knees out wide. Go ahead and draw yourself forward into a fold. Keep thinking of that melty, wide, soft spaces in your lower back. One more exhale. And start to pick yourself up. I'm going to open your legs out and then turn over towards your right leg. And if this leg started to follow, just try to relax it down. Let your body soften. Let your belly soften. You are doing a twist. One more exhale. Then start to pick yourself up. Start to turn yourself over towards the other leg. Try to relax your right hip down. That one. Two more breaths. And start to lift yourself up. You're going to slide your right hand down, open your left side, and then reach up and over into a side bend. Try not to let this hip follow you. Relax that leg down. One more exhale. And start to lift yourself up. Slide the left arm down the left leg. Relax your right hip down. Reach the right arm up and over. One more exhale. And then lift yourself up. Take your hands back behind you. Lift your chest. And try to roll your pelvis forward slightly. So you can kind of like tilt your pubic bone down or roll your tailbone back behind you, whichever way of thinking kind of makes a little more sense. And then as you go into a fold, try to keep that energy of your pelvis rolling forward. So if that means you just stop here, because if you go further forward, the pelvis rolls back, that's what you do. If you have more space to go forward, go ahead and move into it. One more breath out. And start to pick yourself up. And you're going to come into pigeon. We'll just do each side on pigeon. If you prefer to do that with you laying on your back and your ankle on your knee like we started our practice with, just go ahead and do another one of those. You'll probably notice to be strikingly different than when you first came. So I've got my thigh facing out to the corner, not directly in front of me. And both of my hips are up off the ground, my toes face directly behind me. So I'm not sitting over there, I'm not sitting over there. Go ahead and come forward. Few more breaths. And then when you're ready, lifting yourself up, you're just going to sit over on that one hip, swing the other leg around, we'll just go right to the other side. So neither hip on the ground, thigh going out to the corner, not directly forward. Back toes face directly back behind you. One more breath. And then our next shape is going to be happy baby. We are going to come back up again, but go ahead and lower yourself down onto your back if you weren't there already, and take your knees out wide. You're going to reach in between your legs. Try to get your peace fingers to your big toes. If that is not happening, that is absolutely fine. Grab onto your shins. And you may decide when we do a little bit of a weird thing later, you might just grab onto your shins. But if you have a hard time getting to your toes now, just know that you might want to grab something else when we get there later. Also, I will tell you what, imagine straightening both of your legs at this point. If that does not sound like a good idea, and I ask you to kind of sort of straighten them later, honor where you really think that should be going. Don't rip your hamstrings open, and it's going to be hard and weird as it is, okay? Cool, as is life. Good job. One more exhale. And then you're going to release your legs, then bring your knees in. Start to lift yourself up to a seat again. And then you're going to take your legs out wide, but I'm going to have my legs kind of bent like this. Now, I do want them to be wide enough that I can get my body on the in-between. However, if I open them as much as I can, I really can't tilt my pelvis forward. So wide, and then maybe go in like a degree or two or something, yeah? And then see, but you still need to be able to get your body on the inside of your legs. Go ahead and relax your elbows. Relax your head. If you want to put a block underneath your head, that can be real nice. One more breath out. And then start to come up, sending your hands on the outside of your feet, but your arms are still on the insides of your legs. There will be a point at which you look and can't really reach anymore. Great, you found the point, you just stop there. If you've got more space to start to slide your feet out, your arms kind of come with it. You start to pull down in between your legs. And then again, you may find that there would be a good use of a block to be underneath your head, or a couple books, pillow, dog. Give yourself 3 breaths to soften. And then start to unwind your legs, lift yourself out of that knot. And when we were in bridge pose or boat pose, we're lifting the chest. So trying to stay as lifted as much through here instead of kind of getting into this. This is easier to hold, especially when we do this thing. You want to try to lift up when we do it. Just challenge yourself. Do fun thing. I'm probably going to fall back and hit the wall. So we'll see how this goes. You're going to take your peace fingers. Hold your big toes. It's a little easier while you're seated because you're rounding into your back right now. So go on and start to lift your heart up. So you're going to lean back on your tailbone. And then you're going to bring your feet out a bit. Oh my gosh, try to keep lifting your chest. Try to keep breathing. Try to not clench your jaw. Maybe you start to extend the legs. I don't know if I'm going to get... Oh, there we go. I find this way easier with the legs out wide. It is... Oh God, my hips don't allow it. The feet together is also a possibility. Lifting the, okay, yeah, and then maybe a fall. Okay. Still a little fun. Hips are wide open. We need to be grounded and sunk into the earth with a couple more holds to attend to before we do that. So unless you want to do that for a while and work the hold the legs thing. Okay, if you've had enough of that, great. Me too. Go ahead and take your legs out. You're going to bring your right leg in, go ahead and cross it over, hook your elbow. Now as you twist here, try not to like ratchet yourself into a twist. Twist can be very stimulating into the digestive system, creates a lot of heat. So just a gentle lower back relaxing. One more breath out. Release your twist, send that leg out, draw the other one in, and cross it over. If your body allows that, hug your elbows, soften your belly. Just a little twist. One more exhale. Release your twist, send your left leg out long. Draw your right leg in, but this time your knee out wide. And then come forward into a fold. Try to let your pelvis tilt forward. One way to do that is to not try to slam your knee down, but let your thigh bone back a little bit. Two more breaths. Start to lift yourself up. You're going to switch your legs, so you'll take your right leg out long, your left leg is in, let your body soften forward. One more exhale. And then start to come up, and you're going to send both legs out, kind of a couple inches apart. Start to come forward into a fold. Try to hinge the hips forward. That means you need to put a blanket or a pillow underneath your hips so you have that room to roll the hips forward. Maybe you rock a little side to side like I just did. And then as you come forward into this fold, let your body soften inwards. Imagine the cool breeze on your back, the sun on your back. One more breath out. And start to pick yourself up off of your fold, out of your fold. Take your hands back behind you. Roll your shoulders back, lift your heart up gently inside of your rib cage. One more breath in. And exhale, soften. You're going to come down onto your elbows. As you come down onto your elbows, probably you started with your tailbone pointed down towards your feet, so you're going to just adjust so your tailbone points down. As you push down into your elbows, lift your heart up. If you want your head to go back, your head could go back. And find space and softness in your breath. One more breath. And let your heart soften. Come down onto your back. Bring your heels in. They're close by your hips. We're going to do a bridge pose. Only do the one. You don't have to go super far into it, but try to go far enough that you notice where your energy changes and that like expansive heart opener. Just use that as an opportunity to practice softening and cooling your breath. As you push into your feet, wiggle those arm bones in more. You might hold hands or you might hold hips. Feel the heart rising up towards your face and try not to let your temperature or the intensity rise significantly as you do so. One more breath. Relax your shoulders, lower your hips down. Start to extend your legs in the air, and your hands in the air. If you find it difficult, don't hold them up. Try wiggling your fingers and toes. If that's still difficult, bring your hands to your thighs and hold them, but you don't have to work too hard at this. Explore the sensation of just floating in space and feet upside down. One more exhale. Bend your knees. Open your arms. Let both of your knees roll over towards your right side. As you come into this twist, notice where the resistance is. Soften those places. Relax your collarbones. Two more breaths. And as you roll your legs over towards the other side, you need to make any shift around your torso just to feel more balanced in your twist. Give yourself what you need and then soften into that space. Letting go of the control over your breath, just trusting it to care for you, to power you without all of your input, all of your focus. One more breath out. And come back to your back. Slide your feet out. Bring your arms down by your sides. Snuggle your shoulders underneath your back. If this doesn't feel super comfortable to you and there's any other way that you'd like to rest in Shavasana, please do. You could bend your knees, you could lay on your side, you could lay on your belly with your palms stacked underneath your head like we did before. Anything at all. Enjoy the few minutes of rest before we wrap up together. yourself up gently. Make some wiggles in your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms overhead, creating a good morning stretch. And feel the softness with your exhale. And rolling over to one side, taking a moment to pause in gratitude for your practice. Taking the time to gather here together. Lifting yourself up and finding your own comfy seat. Hands together at your heart. Sealing the practice with an Om. Deep breath in. Bowing down to honor the love and the light and the darkness, all of these things that reside within our hearts. Namaste.